Hey everybody. So welcome to, I know I'm a little bit slow this week, a little bit behind, but it's okay because we've got a few things to talk about today. So first of all, if you are wondering what is happening in Boise, because we all are wondering what is happening in Boise and what our representatives are up to, but if you are wondering what is happening in Boise, you can kind of get a legislative review. Check it out this coming Saturday on March 2nd. So that's right, it is almost the end of February. February is a short month, and it has come to my attention that it's almost over. So, but yeah, so on Saturday, March 2nd at noon at the College of Eastern Idaho in room 6163, and that's in the Healthcare Education Building, you can find out what has been going on in the legislative session. We had gerrymandering attempts, so that's super fun. We've got dangerous sex ed bills. That's actually today in committee hearings. We got killing pre-K education. We've got the betrayal of our LGBTQ plus Idahoans. So there's a lot going on in the legislature. There's a lot we need to be aware of, a lot we need to be paying attention to. So come on over on Saturday. Some of our legislative leaders for the Democrats will be here in town. We'll be doing pizza and politics and talking about what's been going on and what we can do to pay attention to stay on top of things. So this is really important stuff. Being aware is hugely important. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, they tried to push through a gerrymandering bill, and we fought back and we mobilized a lot of folks, and we were able to get them to send that bill back to committee. Efforts to continue to pressure our representatives to enact Medicaid expansion as it was voted on. I mean, you know, the majority of Idahoans voted on this. It passed really well, especially here in District 33. This is one of the top counties, one of the top districts where we saw a high passage. So this is something we're still fighting for. They've introduced bills in the House designed to hamstring it. So that's definitely something you want to watch out for, and we want to keep paying attention to and keep pushing. There are other things that we need to pay attention to as well. Sex ed bills, once again, they've decided to not even do a hearing on Add the Words. Brent Hill did his annual, here's why it's okay to discriminate. So he went ahead and did his usual, here's why it's okay to discriminate column. He does that pretty much every year, says pretty much the same thing. So, you know, that's happening. And if we want to make change, and if we want to move forward, and we want to make sure that we are getting people in there that actually represent the interests of Idahoans and not themselves and not their big money donors, we need to change things up. And that starts by being aware and understanding what is going on in Boise. So we'll have that legislative review. We'll also see some good things. As you know, there was some great rape kit testing bills put up there. There's some work on prison reform. So if you want to be up to date on what is going on in Boise, join us at noon on March 2nd at CEI. It'll, you know, brave the weather. I know it's supposed to snow, but brave the weather. Come and join us, because it's really super important to be engaged and to know what's going on. So the other thing to think about is the Truman Banquet is coming up on May 4th. Get your tickets ASAP. So there's limited space, so make sure that you do that. I mean, we have space, but you know, you want to get your tickets on time. You want to get them early. So it'll be May 4th. It'll be at the Downtown Event Center. So make sure you get ready for that. And also, if you have some items to donate for the silent auction or dessert auction, DM us, let us know. We'll get you in touch with the right people. We're always looking for great things to be donated so that we can raise a little money for the cause. So make sure that you get your Truman Banquet tickets ASAP and mark your calendars. Save the date, May 4th. So that'll be at 6 p.m., starting at 6 p.m. Another thing you can do is, if you want to make a difference, and if you are tired, like I am so tired, if you are tired of our representatives and the way that they supposedly represent us over in Boise, or even just here, if you want to make a difference in the local community, run for office. So we're always looking for people to support as they run for office. There are plenty of chances to run for different boards and city councils, and those are nonpartisan positions, which is really a great way to get to know people and get involved in the community. Auditorium district board seats will be up, library board seats will be up, school board seats will be up. So there are zones in District 91 and District 93 that are available. And then city council seats. So, there's always a need for people to be involved. And I hear a lot of people complain about what's going on. They complain about what's going on in the city, or they complain about what is happening at the state level. But they're not running for office. They're not volunteering for campaigns. So even if you're not running for office, let us know if you want to volunteer for a campaign, and we can get you connected with folks who are running for office. Because one of the things that we like to do is complain, and we say, oh my gosh, this is so terrible, and this is what's happening. But the reality is that we are the government. Last week, I attended a great City Club speech by former Justice Jim Jones here on the Supreme Court. He was a former Chief Justice of the Idaho Supreme Court. And he talks about that, and he said, the government is you. So we are the government, and if we want to see changes in it, we have to be engaged and we have to be active. And part of that is being involved, and part of that can also be running for office. So, if you're interested in running for office, DM us. We can send you more information. We can help you figure out what you need to do to file the right paperwork, to understand the deadlines. And then if you're not ready to run for office, but you do know that you want to help on a campaign or you want to be involved, DM us as well, and we can set you up to help volunteer and help get involved, because it's really super important for us to pay attention and to be engaged. Our form of government requires citizen oversight. I mean, if we're not paying attention to what they're doing, we end up with all sorts of stuff that doesn't help anyone except for the people in office. And if we keep sending them back to do the same things, they will be complacent and they will assume that it doesn't matter what they do. And it doesn't matter if they hurt us, because we will keep sending them back. So we need to send a clear message that we are engaged, that we are watching them, and we expect them to do their jobs. And we expect them to accurately represent us. So if you're interested in running for office, DM us. If you're interested in volunteering for a campaign, DM us, because we're going to be active. There'll be campaigns later this year, and there'll be campaigns in 2020. And we need to get started on those and be ready with our organization to hit the ground running. So finally, another thing to think about as we're getting involved and being engaged, facilities planning for District 91. I attended the District 91 Futures Conference yesterday. They talked about creating a facilities plan for the school district. I did volunteer to be on the steering committee, and there will be community meetings, there'll be steering committees, there'll be all this stuff happening. You can check out the District 91 page for more information. But we talk about how important education is to us. And we talk about that a lot here in Idaho, and it's huge. It's the top, if you look at Idaho Politics Weekly and their poll, education is the #1 issue. But when I work in finances, the first thing I do is, when I'm sitting down with somebody and talking about their finances and how to fix their budget or how to move forward with their money, and I say, they say, I say, well, what's important to you? What matters to you? And then I say, now you've told me what matters to you. You've told me what you say is important to you. Now let's look at your spending and see if they match. And a lot of the time, what I find is that they don't match. Like, oh no, I'm messing up my hair. I'm making it worse. Anyway, but what I find a lot is that they don't match. The things that people say are important to them. Oh geez, now I've really done it. Why did I touch my hair? So anyway, the things that people say are really important to them don't show up in their spending. And when you look at their finances, it's not matching what they say is important. And we have that problem here in Idaho, and especially in Bonneville County and District 91, we have that problem. Now it's driving me nuts. I've got that little hair. Anyway, sorry guys. Sorry, my friends. It's all over now. I've made a mistake. I've made a huge mistake. Anyway, so we say that education is important to us. We say here in District 91, we say here in Bonneville County that education is important to us. And then we can't pass a school bond, or people say no, or people say, oh, well, it's good enough. So since when was good enough okay for our children instead of excellence? Since when did we say good enough was okay rather than excellence? And so that's the reality here. And so, so I did go to this other, thanks, McKay. She's like, McKay is desperately trying to help me fix my hair and I'm dying. Anyway, thank you, McKay. But yeah, so consider joining, consider paying attention. We'll put some information out on when there are community meetings so that you can join them. We got to join this effort. We've got to move forward. The problem that we have here in Idaho, especially when it comes to funding our buildings and funding our schools, is we have to do these super majority bond levies, right? So unless we can get, 66.666667, or basically 67% of the vote in an area, we don't, we don't get what we need. We don't get what we need for our children. And the reality is a no vote in these bonds counts more than a yes vote. So close to 60% of people in District 91 can be saying, yes, we want these facilities. Yes, we want to upgrade. Yes, we want a new building. But, the 40% who say no count for more. So that's really frustrating. And until that changes, we really need to push forward. So pay attention to what's going on with the facilities planning, be involved in that if you have the time, even if you just go to community meetings to find out what's going on and share your input. That's hugely important, because we need to stay on top of this, and we need to start really putting our money where our mouths are when it comes to our children's education and the future. We talk about how important it is. Even the people who vote no and are pushing these no campaigns, they claim that education is important to them, but their actions say otherwise. So I really encourage you to get involved in this process, really pay attention so that we can really start moving forward and truly prioritize education in our county, in our school district, and in our state. So let's think about that as well. So, so here we are. We've come to the end of another weekly video. Really, please come on March 2nd. Please join us at noon at CEI. Having this pizza in politics is really important so that we can see what is going on in Boise, so we can understand what's happening in Boise, and so that we can figure out what we need to do, because there's tons that we need to do. Even if you just make a phone call, or even if you just make, even if you just send a note or send an email, that's hugely important. And it's very important for us to let our legislators not only know that we are paying attention and that we are watching them, but we also need to let them know that at some point they will face consequences if they are not properly representing us. So come out to that event. Make sure that that you are there. Make sure that you are on top of things. And then once you know what is going on, make sure that you take action. And we can help you with that. So make sure you join us as we move forward to hold our representatives accountable and to take action for an even better Idaho.